That's bad.
Enough goofing around. We got some work to do. So as you saw, our new Circle D converter showed up. This should be about a 4,000 stall on the foot brake. Because again, we don't have a trans brake in this Power Glide. So I gave Brian at Circle D all the specs of the truck and everything. We decided to try out a 4,000 stall, see if we can be able to leave pretty good, leave on a few pounds of boost, and hopefully it won't slip like crazy like that Jegs converter that we had in it. And the TSI that we have in the truck now is for a trans brake, so it only foot brakes to like 26, 2700, which was just not enough. I don't know what it would do, because we never obviously tried it with the turbo, but I think it would maybe make 1 or 2 pounds of boost without having any sort of like boost builder strategy in the ECU or anything like that, which, if you haven't been watching the videos, we're still on a stock ECU. Please, sir, can we have some boost? So we're doing some things. We're getting old school in a few areas. And hopefully this converter should have a lot of room to grow in the future with this thing, if I decide to keep the truck. So you can hopefully see Power Glide 400 LS Pro Series 245 millimeter. Fresh converter bolts. One thing that I love about these converters, or I mean most good converter brands, is they have the threaded tab, so you just put the bolts through the flex plate, call it a day. You don't have to deal with tightening nuts and bolts, which is how we are right now. But always, huge shout out to the guys at Circle D. I know I said this already in the last video, but they've been with us for a long time now. I think it's been like 4 or 5 years since I got the first converter for Goldie Hawn. Now we've got one of their converters in Jack. We've got the 4L80 converter in the Skylark here, which, boy, look how that thing shined up. Golly, that car looks so good, dude. Ain't nothing like a 68 to 72 A-body. Ah! And now we've got one of their converters going in the dime a dozen here, which hopefully should really, really help this thing. So there's 2 areas that I think should always be overbuilt when it comes to building, especially like a drag vehicle, but pretty much any vehicle I think this applies to, and that is transmission and fuel system. Fuel system, we're kind of skating the edge, I think, because we got that Hellcat 525 pump, which should support like 650 at the wheels, like 600, 650. Some people have probably pushed 700 at the wheels, but I think that's cutting it really close. I think like 6 to 650 is probably a safe bet. But our transmission program is A1. We've got a very good Power Glide, and now we've got one of the best converters, I think, in the game. Maybe not this one specifically, but from one of the best brands. This one, I want to say, is good up to like 900 or 1,000 horsepower. So, like I said earlier, we've got plenty of room to grow. So I know most of you guys know this already, but go check out Circle D if you need anything. So I'm going to push the truck back. The transmission should be a lot more streamlined to get in and out of this truck. In fact, I'm just going to have the cat here do it, right? Come on, get to work. Always laying down on the job. So I'm going to push the truck back. We'll get it up in the air. I'm kind of thinking that start to finish should be like 40 minutes. Probably a little bit longer with trying to film things, but I think if I was just hustling off camera, probably a half an hour. Let's get everything out of here to actually take a look at our prized possession here. Oh, that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Look at that. That's the stuff, man. Oh, it's almost too good looking to throw in the truck, to be honest. Almost. It's still going in there. So, like I said, I'm going to get this thing up in the air. We're going to get to work on it. And someone commented on the last video that one of the control arms is all rusted through, and I just don't see what they're talking about. Like, I am looking, and I am not seeing. This'll do the trick. to tell you. So I'm going to throw the camera on a tripod. It is 10:15 right now. We'll see how long this takes. I have no idea when the camera shut off, but we did go a little bit longer than 45 minutes just because I was an idiot with the converter bolts and I got the first one a little too tight. So then when I went around to the next one, yeah, I was having a hard time getting it in. Complete user error there, and just not following my own rules. So the transmission, we're probably gonna have to put a little bit of transmission fluid in it. Aside from that, just have to put some fuel and a base tune in it, and this thing should fire up. But that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow because it's like 11:30 now, so let's skip ahead. And now it's the next day. All right, got everything buttoned up underneath. Lowered the truck down, started putting the new base tune in it for the turbo setup. I did notice that fitting at the top of the tank is leaking, so that's a whole lot of fun. Good thing these stock tanks are easy to get in and out. And luckily I only put 5 gallons in it, which there's probably only about 4 gallons in it now. So I'm hoping that I've got things close enough to fire up, because if I don't, man, this is going to take a while to figure out, because stock ECU stuff sucks. And if it's not running, it's kind of hard to tune. It's not like Holly or anything like that where you can just tell the computer this and it creates its own base map. You kind of have to figure out your own in this situation. Especially going from a stock file, having to convert it to a 3-bar. If you guys haven't done anything with HP tuners, when you do that, it basically completely wipes the map and it sets every cell at like 160 or something like that, which for frame of reference, down at idle, I'm guessing this will probably want like around 20 or something like that. So it setting every cell at 160 really F's things up. So like I said, I'm hoping I've got it close enough to where it'll at least fire up. And once we got it running, it'll be real easy to kind of dial it in and figure things out. It'll be a whole lot easier once I get a wideband on this thing. If any of you guys have an AEM wideband for sale for cheap, preferably, let me know. Because I can't bring myself to spend $170 on a new one. That's just crazy. So I'm gonna see if this thing fires up and we'll get it figured out. Okay, I have been messing with this thing for a while. It doesn't want to fire up. I think I figured out why. I am a huge idiot. When I converted the tune file from the base, like 1-bar MAF, to a 3-bar speed density, it reset the VATs. So I was messing with this thing for hours trying to figure it out when it was just, it turned the VATs back on, which is wonderful. So now let's see if it fires up. Fingers crossed. It'll probably run rough, but as long as it fires up, oh, it'll just be a huge step forward. burn stuff off. All right. Whew. Man, I cannot tell you how big of a relief that is to hear this thing fire back up. Because when I say that I've been messing with this thing for hours, I have been messing with this thing for hours. And it was just the stupid vats. So odds are the VE table that I had like 3 or 4 tunes ago was probably a lot closer than this one. Because like I made a table and I thought it'd be pretty close to what this thing would want just based off experience. I mean, I'm not a good tuner by any means, but I've dabbled in the past. So I had like a frame of reference that I thought it would want, and it would cough, like it would try to fire, and it just wouldn't get there. So I was like, man, the airflow has to be really far off that as soon as it tries to go from like the cranking to the main table, it's just terrible. So I tried increasing it a bunch, I tried decreasing it a bunch, I was all over the place. And just those stupid vats got turned back on, which is so dumb. Because like, obviously they were off before, because the truck was running before, we had it down the road. But just converting it to the 3-bar tune file, turn the vats back on for some stupid reason. And man, this turbo is cranking at, it was idling like around 1,000, I think, 1,000, 1,100. And that turbo was cranking. Like I knew that it was a very small bag housing. It's a 7665, I think. It was moving some air. So that one is supposed to be rated for 750 horsepower. I don't know if that's crank or wheel. If it's crank, that'll be like almost perfectly matched with the rest of our setup. Because like I said, our fuel system is only good for about 650 wheel. Our rear end is only good for about 150 wheel horsepower. We don't have a trans brake, but we're checking things off, you know? We're knocking off the to-do list. And it fires up. Theoretically, I could move it out of the garage under its own power. Man, feels good to have this thing running again. So the things left to do are obviously wideband so that I can tune it better than trying to deal with the freaking narrowband O2s. Fix the fuel leak. I think spinning good, like we had good oil to it. I know we had good fuel pressure because I cracked this line and it fucking shot everywhere when I was trying to troubleshoot why it wasn't running. I was like, well, maybe that fuel leak's just bleeding off too much pressure. And yeah, I can tell you there was plenty of pressure, brother. So yeah, slowly checking things off. Not a whole lot left to do, but there is just a lot of tedious little stuff that isn't going to be fun, especially in this heat. So on that absolute bombshell, it's time to end. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I absolutely hope you're enjoying the dime a dozen build. I'm having fun with it, and that's what this is all about at this point, is just have fun. Thank you guys for subscribing, clicking the bell to get notifications, and I'll see you next time.